WTOL 11 breaking news now.
We saw strangers who were shocked and frightened by the violence they just saw. They jumped into action. They helped others by placing tourniquets, dressing wounds, applying pressure, and comforting those victims until additional help could arrive.
That was Toledo Fire and Rescue Chief Allison Armstrong talking about the mass shooting near the Old West End Festival.
Yeah, that shooting leaving 12 injured Saturday. The mayor gave an update on the victims and their condition, saying 9 have been released from the hospital and 3 are still there but are no longer in critical condition.
We have team coverage tonight. Megan Harnett is covering where the investigation stands at this hour, and Tim Miller is covering city leaders' reactions to the mass shooting.
But first, we're going to start with Megan. So, Megan, police say no arrests have been made yet, but do they have any firm leads?
Toledo police say that they have brought in multiple people for questioning, but at this time they have all been released. One of those people who was brought in is connected to a house in central Toledo that was searched yesterday. Police say from that search, they were able to recover 1 gun, which they believe is connected. TPD says officers are looking for 2 men between the ages of 18 and 24 and are asking the public for any information they have. When talking about what could have been done differently, Police Chief Mike Trenley says he believes staffing levels were adequate. He says there were 17 law enforcement officers at the festival before the shooting, 30 patrolling the district, and 2 mobile cameras. Mayor Wade Kapsakavich says the city is looking at things like strengthening curfews, wristbands at entry points, and more bag searches. But he says even with those policies in place, Saturday's shooting still could have happened.
This event happened at 5:30 in the afternoon. There's no curfew that would have addressed that. For those who think more backpack checks and access point checks were necessary, the series of events that produced Saturday all began when a police officer checked a book bag.
So what could change? The mayor says the city is close to introducing an ordinance that could hold parents more accountable. He says they are also looking at different ways to hold young people more accountable. He says they are also assessing the role that local government and police play in situations like this one. Reporting in downtown Toledo, Megan Hartnett, WTOL 11.
It's a diverse and beautiful place that we all love to live, and the event that happened the night before didn't define us.
That's Toledo City Councilman Nick Comives, and for him, the mass shooting is personal. It happened in the neighborhood he lives in. Tim Miller was at today's press conference and shares more on how the Old West End neighborhood is reacting. Tim?
Well, Kaylee, they are reeling, and Councilman Comives told me he didn't see the shooting Saturday night, but he was at the Old West End Festival a couple of blocks away, and all of a sudden he heard gunshots. We also heard today from Lori Hammond, the president of the Old West End Association. She thanked Toledo Police, Fire, the Lucas County Sheriff's Office, and others for their help once those shots were fired, and ever since then. She said the neighborhood is truly heartbroken by the violence, and they're praying for the victims who were injured. Councilman Comives supports Mayor Wade Kapsakavich calling for the Old West End Festival to actually resume later this summer because the last day was canceled this past Sunday. But they'll take a look at security measures.
It's going to take a long time for the festival to come back to what it was, but I know one thing is for sure. When we gathered on Sunday, we said we want to continue having our festival. We want to continue opening ourselves to those who can come and experience our neighborhood, because we want people to love their neighbors the way that we love our neighbors.
Councilman Comives also said people have guns who should not have them, and the city needs to figure out how they're getting them and how to keep them from getting in the wrong hands. Reporting live in the studio, Tim Miller, WTOL 11.
And for many who were at the festival, the fear did not stop after the gunfire came to a halt. As survivors and witnesses continue to process the trauma, local mental health experts, they are stepping in to try to help the community heal. Our Annalise Corneo Garcia reports.
It happened right in front of us. Like, why didn't it happen to me?
For Tina Gionis, the shock of Saturday's shooting still hasn't faded.
The realization just kind of hits in that we were just very close to we were in a mass shooting.
She says she was waiting for a band to take the stage when gunshots suddenly erupted.
I'll just do what they do in the movies and just hit the ground. And I hit the ground, and my 5-year-old was there, and his uncle grabbed him and hit the ground too.
Gionis has attended the festival for decades, but she never imagined something like this could ever happen.
It was just very traumatic. I don't know, I'm just trying to process it, and I'm having a hard time doing so.
Now she's turning to support services offered through a resource event hosted by the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Lucas County at the Kent Branch Library.
We know that events like this can cause a collective trauma, and there is still, people are concerned about their safety moving forward.
Organizers say connecting people with crisis hotlines, mental health professionals, and practical coping tools can help them begin to process what happened. This is one of several events around the area aiming to support community members.
After events like this, people should, just be strong, hold their head up high, pull themselves up by their bootstraps. But we know that that's not how trauma impacts people, and people do need help, and there is help out there.
As the healing process for festival goers continues, Joan says outreach efforts will too.
We're working with city and county partners to figure out what more needs to be done and what more we can offer for the community.
The board will also have booths set up June 11th, 12th, and 13th.
I think the community is probably the most important, just talking and just not feeling isolated and just coming together, and I think that's all we can do at this point.
Reporting in the Old West End, I'm Annalise Cornejo Garcia, WTOL 11.
And stay with WTOL on air and online for updates on this developing story. You can find extended stories, interviews right now on WTOL.com. Plus, the full news conference from earlier today streaming right now on WTOL 11 Plus. Download for your TV and watch for free.